Good morning, world. I hope you're all well. So I thought we'd do a little video about a horse that came to me with a tendon, was going to be rehomed. He's a very nice horse with good form. My vet gave him a 50-50 chance of racing again. He has a chronic tendon, which is different from an acute. We'll come to that in a moment. He was endeavoured for 3 months to give him the chance to be rehomed, and the vet couldn't believe how good the Endeavour had been for him and said this horse will race again. So we turned him away, brought him back in, carried on with the Endeavour, did a couple of months walking on the horse walker, then started riding him. And he has been tricky, to say the least. He's tricky because he has spent so long being wrong. He only knows how to go a certain way. And that way is hollow, loading across a diagonal, not carrying himself, not using his core muscles, and basically just being naughty. I would say he's naughty because he is sore, and he's sore because he doesn't use himself correctly, and he jams all his withers and his back underneath the saddle up. His neck was very tense. And my chiropractor, Anton, God bless him, had a bit of a meltdown and said, I don't know where to begin. So anyway, we had his teeth done twice. Anton did a lot with him, and we have started teaching him how to carry himself. Easier said than done, because his go-to attitude is no. And sometimes you have to work through this, because if we don't work through this, the horse will have no life. He would not be rehomable. He's too sharp. His go-to is duck, dive, buck, spook, grab the bit, open his mouth. And in an ideal world, a lot of you say, well, put him bitless. We can't be bitless with racing. So we've tried a happy mouth. We've tried a nath. We've tried a French link. We've tried a snaffle. We've tried noseband, no noseband. We tried the hood on top of the bridle, which he shook off numerous times. So today, campers, we have the rubber figure of 8 cross noseband, which is one piece, and it allows plenty of play for the horse. He has a Waterford Fulmer on, which when he's soft, will be soft for him. When he fights, he can't grab it. And we've put the hood underneath the bridle. So far, watching him, he's got better and better. He seems more relaxed. He's more consistent. But it's early days, and the trouble is, what we're asking him to do is hard. And why would he understand that if he relaxes and relaxes his body and stops fighting, the muscles can then soften and he can use the correct muscles, which although will be hard to start with, in the long term, he's less likely to injure himself and he'll find life so much easier. At this point, I asked Kenny and she said he was much better, much easier. She could half halt him and correct him without him sort of nose poking out and slamming the brakes on. And that's what his go-to was just if you tried to half halt gently, stick his nose out, stick his head and neck out, grab the bit, twist, and either slam the front legs down or buck. But you can see here, he's just starting to soften and just gently just dropping as she plays. You know, it's trying not to be overly rough, even in the slightest bit of playing. You know, think they've got metal in their mouths and they're used to being swung off of. So we're asking them to finesse how they hold the bit. So we have to finesse how we use our hands. This deep sand track is phenomenal, even walking on it, because if a horse is left to its own devices, they will always revert to trying getting you to hold them. And we don't want to be holding them whilst they're working on it. We want them between our leg and our hand and them carrying themselves and locking their core in. And with this horse, the core is the important thing, because he literally could not lock his core in. And you see here he's striking off on the incorrect lead, So Kenny's just bringing him back quietly, just gently, but he's looking for the fight. And again, she's saying, whoa, just wait. Looking for the fight. She's just waiting. She's half halting him. There you go. She got him off the bit. He let go, and she was able to ask him to strike on the correct lead. And there he's tried to grab the bit and run a little bit, but that's okay. That's fine. She's just brought him back. She's kept her body up and relaxed, and she's just not overreacting to his reactions, because that's so important. If we overreact to what they do, then they overreact to us. So we have to give his brain a minute to process what she's asking and just say, I don't want that, but just take a minute and think about it. This is what I'd like. I'm just going to wait for you to give back to me. And I think the time we spend just allowing them to process is really important. Obviously, if they go past that point and start misbehaving, we have to then say, no, come here. What I like is on this rein, he's starting to just relax into his stride. And the hood is taking away the outside stimulus that he used as a distraction from settling into work. Look at that, much better. But can you see he's between the leg and the hand? He's softer. He's thinking. Every so often there he goes to yaw, and Kenny just says, well, okay, but I'd like you to come back here, please. And just gently brings him back. There you go. Back to between the leg and the hand. Back to between the leg and the hand. Much softer, much nicer, much more civilized. And we can start to go forward with him now, which is really nice. Hopefully he will improve.